Hey everyone, so you probably think that I forgot to do a follow-up video on the replacement battery for the Bluetti AC500, but I didn't. The package arrived this side down, which I don't really know what else you can do to make that more obvious. The banding broke. You can see it was kind of beat up over here. Cardboard up here's kind of tore up. There's a gash in this here. And you can see the corner over here is kind of beat up. But Bluetti does a pretty good job of packaging these, so I'm not super concerned. There's usually a cardboard box inside this cardboard box, and then there's styrofoam around it, so it should be okay, but let's open it up and check it out. So if you order any of this stuff, keep this box, because returns cannot be accepted without this box. All right, so same as the original one, it came with a warranty card here, user manual, the solar input here, MC4 connectors that go to an XT90, and the main cable here, and a QC pass certificate. So I just noticed the cables now say push to lock to turn on. They didn't used to say that, so they've added that. Everything else looks to be the same from what I can tell. So actually, one other thing I noticed about the new cable is that it's a lot more flexible than the old cable. So that was one of the things originally that was like, it was kind of hard to bend this. I know you guys don't feel the resistance, but it's much more stiff than the new cable. This one is very, very flexible, very easy to manipulate. So I think that'll be good for making your connections. It's nice to see them making improvements on stuff. I don't know if I'm the only one that complained about this, but this is definitely much better overall. So good job on this one, Bluetti. So that's the battery in the box. So you can see there's several inches of space in here, and all of that was wrapped in foam. So they do a really good job with the packaging on this. Not concerned whatsoever about the actual battery being damaged from any of the handling that this thing was subjected to. All right, so we just confirmed the serial number of this battery. It is not the same battery that was shipped out. It is a different serial number battery. And as far as the front face and the entire battery, it all looks identical to the original design. They haven't made any changes to the battery itself that I can see. So I think the first thing I want to do is check the output and see if we have voltage there, because that was the problem with the original battery. All right, so the issue that we had with the original battery was that it had continuous output voltage at the terminal connection here, even when the battery was off. So the first thing I want to do is take a voltmeter with the battery off like it is right now and just see if there's output voltage. So there is 2.62 volts, which I remember from the original video is the same as this. So that's, well, somebody I think mentioned it in the comments section. I don't remember exactly what it is, but that's normal. All right, so let's turn it on. So it shipped at around 60%, which is also normal. Everything seems to be working correctly. DC turns on, I can hear it click. Back off. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so per the manual, when you have one AC500 and one B300S, you want to plug the battery cable into the bottom, which is battery 2 on the AC500, and the top, which is battery 1 on the battery. So kind of backwards from what you would think. You would think it was battery 1 and battery 1, but I remember from the original video, it was kind of weird. So we'll go ahead and hook that up now. They even have a little picture right here showing you the top of the battery and the bottom of the inverter. Yeah, this thing is
much easier, dude.
Noticeably more flexible. No sparks. That's always nice. All right, so now we should be able to go through and turn this on. the battery turned on, and this should kick on afterward. So that's normal operation, which is good to see. Our battery light here is lit up for 60%. Battery here says 55%. You can't see that, so we'll bring you in. The battery indicator down here is at 60%. And this is saying 55%. We don't have anything turned on right now. I'm wondering if Bluetti is ever going to make this start glowing, because that would be awesome, even if it was only temporary to, you know, impress your friends, because that's what's important. All right, so handy dandy heat gun. These should flip down. That's kind of annoying. Are all of them? Yeah, they are all like that. Why wouldn't you flip it? Okay, anyway. Let's go ahead and turn our AC output on. Okay. Plug that in. Kick it on high. So just under 1700 watts. No problem. Shouldn't be a problem. So now we have two space heaters and our heat guns, so we're going to turn these on sequentially and see what wattage we're drawing from this. So the first one's on, we're drawing 1600-ish watts. Just turned the second one on. Now we're on high for the second one. All right, so that's stabilized around 2640 watts or so. So now we're going to turn on our heat gun. 4300. I don't hear any of the fans on the blowers slowing down, like there's a voltage sag, so that's good. We've dropped 3% on the battery already. Can't imagine why. So they should be able to run that continuous, right? 5,000 continuous, isn't it? Yeah. 4,300 watts. So, all right, so we're gonna let this run for 10 minutes, starting right now. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. The battery's at 22%. We're still drawing about 4,250 watts. No hiccups at all. We're gonna turn the DC on and charge an iPhone. That'll push us over the edge, I'm sure. The cooling fans on the left-hand side of the unit are on, and it's definitely putting out some heat. On the right-hand side, you can feel it pulling in the cool air, but no problems so far. So I'm just gonna let it keep going. It's a decent torture test. It's about as much as you can pull from the 20 amp circuits continuously, especially through all three. So we'll just let it run to empty and see what happens, and then we'll charge it back up. Ooh, 9 watts out of that iPhone. Too much. I'm telling you, man, it's gonna push us over the edge. I wonder what they recommend max discharges for one battery. Wonder if it's 4,300 watts. All right, so we're at 8%. Everything just shut down. It's beeping. So obviously the percentage given is not super accurate, although the battery does still have the 20% LED lit up. So that kind of sucks. I wonder if it went into a thermal shutdown because the cooling fans are definitely running, and it's definitely warm on the output side. Cooling fans just shut off. Turn the heat gun on. I don't think this thing will do 4,200 watts continuous. I mean, still pretty impressive, but I want 5,000 watts. I want all the watts. Turn it all back on. Let's see. I think it went into thermal shutdown. Whoa. Well, we peaked over 5,000 there for a second. Told you the iPhone was going to push us over the edge. 5%. So apparently it goes from 5% to 0. Could be because of the load we had on it. I don't think there's any recovering from this. Battery drained. All right, so the battery LED is off now. There are no battery indicator LEDs lit up. The light is still on. So it is lit up. And this is on, but nothing. Yep, so it's dead. Now let's charge it. We're 19 minutes into the video from when I first turned it on. We drew 4,250 watts for about 19 minutes before the battery died. I would like to see if we expand that to the 6 kilowatt hours and turn all this on again, if it can do it continuously and run it all the way down, or if it's going to shut off from thermal overload, because I think this thing shut off because it got too hot. I don't think it was because the battery was too low, because it immediately turned back on after the fans ran for a few minutes. So there's a dot on the input and there's a dot on this. It's keyed so you can't put it in wrong, but that's an easy way to quickly align this. I like that. All right, now we have AC power plugged in. It automatically started charging at 1,750 watts. That's probably not going to be able to do that. Probably should throttle that back. And so we drop that back to 13 amps. I do like that you can adjust the amperage going into this. It is pretty nice, as opposed to either not being able to adjust that at all, and you just got to work with it, or having like, I think the EcoFlow, some of their models have a slow charge and a fast charge. This, you can actually go through and set literally anything you want. You can do user define and type in a number if you want to, but it's got some quick reference buttons here to pick one of those if you want, or you can set it yourself, which I think is awesome. That's handy because you never know what kind of a power source you might have for the grid, and you don't want to overload a circuit or a generator. 1%. Hooray. Killed it in 20 minutes, and in 3 hours we'll be up and running. Okay, 2. All right, so everything appears to be working as it should. The low battery or battery drained alarm shut off at 6%, so it looks like 5% and lower. It'll maintain that alarm. And then once you start charging it back up, it goes off. We're at 7% now, so we're just gonna let this thing charge up. I am kind of interested to do a load test similar to what we did here, but with maybe 2 batteries so it can run continuously, and just see if this thing will actually put out the 4,200 watts. I could almost understand the 5,000 if you ran it continuously, but realistically it should do the 5,000 watts continuous for as long as you want to run 5,000 watts. But 4,200, 4,300, it should absolutely run that continuously. That's quite a ways below the maximum output of this. So I would be surprised to see this go into thermal shutdown at that wattage, but I think I'm gonna try it out in another video and see if that works. My butt is hot. It's like, just play it off, man, just play it off. It's not that hot, it's not that hot. So overall, I think customer service from Bluetti came through on this. It did take a while to get it, but the fact that they followed through and made it right says a lot in my book. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm excited to kind of put it through its paces and see what kind of capabilities it has. And they definitely need the blue LED on this Bluetti. That would be sweet. There was a delay in shipping on our end because we wanted to make sure the battery was discharged the way they asked us to make sure it was discharged. But overall, once they received the old battery, they shipped this out really quick. It got here fast. So kudos to them on following through. So shout out to Max at Bluetti for getting this taken care of for us. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for this video. I would call it a success. Follow-up test to come, and I will see you on the next one. My knees. Crouch down like this so all my knees can pop like an old man. Okay, so I lied. One other thing that is different. This is the original cable, and as you can see, just kind of moving it around, it's a lot more stiff than this. This is much more flexible. This one does not have anywhere near the flexibility that the old one does. Or, nope, the new one. The old one's a lot more stiff. We're gonna have to edit this one.